and you have to quickly hop on it so it can take you to where you've been, to your desires. Your desires are where you're going. It's where we're all going. We all have this vision of what we want to call into our life. We all want a better life. And that horse is going to come by your door, and it might not even knock. You might have to open the door and just hop on the horse and go. And that's when the vulture will then come in. Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. We talk all things life, love, spirituality, love, attraction, and all of that juicy goodness. We are here for our weekly energy reading. We're going to quickly call on our guides. My man Mike and my man Meta, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, please open sacred space. Please only allow the highest and whitest light messages to come through. Bless me, bless my cards, bless my beautiful viewers. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for every comment, every like. Let's finish out this prayer and ask Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron to please bless anybody going through a deep healing right now, anybody that's uncovering some tough traumas, anybody that is going through grief resurfacing, or maybe they're currently going through grief or a loss, or even a job loss, divorce, needing to make big transitions. Let's put the white light around everybody who's experiencing those things. And just remind you all that you have the strength to endure it, and you chose it, and it's meant for you, and you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. All right, they're already speaking through me. I feel a warrior energy this week. I made that post. I don't know if you guys saw it, but my community post and in my shorts, I had a vision of Micah, my daughter. If you are new to my channel, I had a daughter 12 years ago, and it was actually on my Saturn return. Your Saturn return is when between 28 and 30, usually like 29 and 30 when you turn 30. And literally my daughter was born when I was 29, and within the month I turned 30, and then she passed away shortly after my birthday. So your Saturn return is kind of like when the universe shows up and it's like, all right, here's your mission. I'm handing it to you. So we are shown what pattern, what lesson, what thing we need to kind of master in this lifetime. So for me, if somebody was looking at my birth chart and they saw my Saturn return and they see that my daughter was born and passed away during that time, grief, might be a big thing for me. So think about when you turn 30, what was the theme of that? What happened to you? Did you have a memory surface? Did you get married? Did you have a baby? If you had a baby, like I was thinking about it, my parents, I think I talked about this already in another reading, but I was born on both of my parents' Saturn return. And I've probably been the most troublesome kid. I was so resistant to my mom, and I just have been through a lot. So they've had to witness me go through a lot of pain and suffering, and maybe not knowing what to do with it. I'm definitely the odd man out in my family. I'm the youngest of 4. I have 2 sisters and a brother, and I just feel like I'm the rogue one. I'm the one that has had a lot of attention on her for different reasons. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I do have kids. Obviously, I have my daughter, but I just don't have the picket fence life like everybody else. And I know a lot of light workers don't, but yeah, I was my parents' Saturn return. So sorry, mom and dad, but we chose it. But think about yours. What happened to you when you turned 30? And if you have not turned 30 yet, say some prayers. Hopefully your soul's mission isn't too hard, or that's why I said I feel like it's a warrior energy, because I feel like this week for me, I had that vision of my daughter in a meditation. She came to me, she hugged my neck. It was the first time she ever showed herself to me in like human form as like a little girl. She would be 12 years old, but she was more like 5 or 6 in my vision. And I sobbed and I cried, and then I thought, oh no, was she showing me herself in a future daughter? Like, am I going to have another baby and it's going to be a girl and that's what she's going to look like? I just remember her curly brown hair on my face, and she had a braid, but it was like a messy braid. It was just you guys, I can't even put into words. For 12 years, I've been wanting to know. Like, I used to say to my classroom all the time, I'm like, you know what, guys, I'm okay with everything that happened. I have to be okay with it. There's no other choice. But I just really wish I would have known what she would have looked like, like just to have like a face. Because when they're babies, you can see her face here. Like you can't really know, until they have hair and until they are, they have a certain walk about them, or you can hear their laugh. I used to really hate that I didn't have that. So this week was a warrior energy for me, at least, because I was seeing more of what I've endured 12 years of, holding that pain. And I felt like this week I finally just like surrendered to it. And I've thought I did before, but that's the healing journey, is when we think we've healed something, there's always another layer. But yeah, I just was having this awakening moment to, I just love her so much. And I'm so thankful that she showed herself to me, whether it's a future her or a current her, I don't know, but it was just love. And she grabbed my neck and she laid on my chest. And this is where she was when she passed away. I have a heart tattooed here. So yeah, warrior energy is real this week. We are starting to see the warrior in all of us. So your Saturn return might be showing you your warrior energy. Okay, we just got 4 cards. Right off the bat, vulture and horse. Okay, so the vulture kind of symbolizes what I was talking about earlier. In my prayer, I was asking Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron to please put the white light around anybody going through an upheaval. The vulture comes in and cleans up messes, the messes of our lives. Like if you need an apartment, if you need money, if you need to get out of the relationship, if you need a different job, the vulture is what comes along and brings it to you. And then that momentum, when it arrives, it's kind of like this fast moving horse that's running by your front door, and you have to quickly hop on it so it can take you to where you've been, to your desires. Your desires are where you're going. It's where we're all going. We all have this vision of what we want to call into our life. We all want a better life. And that horse is going to come by your door, and it might not even knock. You might have to open the door and just hop on the horse and go. And that's when the vulture will then come in and clean up the mess behind you so that you can leave and not have to worry about picking up all the pieces or putting things back together. So those are those 2 cards together. And then we have the cosmic egg, which is completion. This is finally completing the cycle. So it's karmic loops ending, closing out, finishing up, tying up. And then we have the elephant. So the elephant is the karma. And I've never read that card this way. It's just coming through right now. The elephant is the karma. The elephant is your Saturn return. It's, what did you come here to learn? What did you come here to do? What did you come here to heal? The elephant creates the obstacle so that it can overcome it. So it's like your soul sat at a table and was like, okay, I'm going to choose to have my daughter. I'm going to choose to have her leave. I'm going to choose sexual abuse as a child, a repeat abuse in college, physical abuse as a kid. If I didn't get something right or something wasn't perfect, I was hit for it. So all of these different things, my soul was like, check, 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 check. I want to learn all these lessons. I want to learn compassion. I want to learn forgiveness. I want to be an intuitive reader, and I want to be so kind and loving to everybody, to let everybody know that they can forgive their abusers too, because we technically chose it, right? It's the karma that has been going on for years in our family line. So each of those check boxes that I just talked about, I could sit in my woe is me and be like, oh, this happened to me and I'm so sad. But guess what? It happened to everybody before me in my family. And I was crying in my Jeep yesterday because I just was so angry, and I had so much rage that this just continues to happen. And I know that's why we're here, and I know that's why we're incarnated in this time, to stop the cycle and to break it and to heal it, to feel it, and to just be different, right? But that's what the elephant is saying. And the cosmic egg, it's like you're finally completing that cycle. The rage has to be released. You're letting go of that, not just the story of what happened to you, but you're finishing up and you're tying up all the years before you where everybody in your family was hurt in some way, from abuse, from grief, from, maybe things in our world, like maybe my daughter didn't have to die, right? Like maybe there was something that they didn't do. Maybe the hospitals didn't do something, or maybe they could have caught it sooner. I don't know, right? There's like all this corruption in our world, even just people that are getting cancer nowadays. If our food wasn't so poisoned and wasn't so toxic, we wouldn't have cancer. I mean, that's just one, food is just one, whatchamacallit, ingredient, um, but that causes disease in our body. But most of it is stress and is trauma that's living in our body that we are not dealing with, and then it builds and breeds illness. So all of these things we're here to completely dismantle and stop. So our first message, I'm not surprised, we have the vultures going to clean up the mess. When momentum comes knocking and when it's time to move on and do your mission, you got to hop on the horse, meaning you got to leave the relationship. You got to quit the job. You got to move cities. You have to be done with the pattern. Okay, the pattern is you staying somewhere that's not serving you. And you created this obstacle so that you could overcome it. Okay, first 4 cards. Is my phone not on do not disturb? It is. Fabulous. Okay, let's get some Micah magic. This is the deck that I created in memory of my daughter. She's with us in all of my readings. I was just going to start talking about these beads. And people always ask me, Michelle, what are those teal beads in all of your videos and in your readings? And I bring them when I do like local readings, when I go to reading parties, I always bring them with me. And that's a necklace that I actually wore when I was pregnant. So I feel like the necklace holds the energy of my daughter. So we're going to see, sit tight, things are being moved for you. This is kind of like that horse energy. You're not going to have to take care of much, and the vulture. So I'm going to put that here. Things will, people often wonder, like, all right, on the spiritual journey, do we wait? Do we surrender? Do we let life like bring it to us, or do we take action? And it's a dance, right? So as you take a step, the universe takes a step. You take a step, the universe takes a step. So sometimes we have to start the dance. We have to start by saying, universe, I am ready for this next level. I am ready for this new house. And, with the law of assumption, you guys, it can take 72 hours for you to change your life. If you dedicate 72 hours to consistently putting your mind into the state of the wish fulfilled, whatever it is that you want, you're seeing yourself in your dream car, you're with your new partner, you might not know what they look like, but you can envision a person maybe standing at the oven cooking. Maybe they're pulling something out of the fridge and bringing it to you. You can't see their face. You don't have to know who it is, but just the energy of somebody maybe taking care of you or working with you, or maybe you're on stage speaking together. My brain just totally blanked, but the 72 hours, you're completely immersing your brain into the end state. All right. And then what happens is in the first 24 hours, a part of the old pattern has to die, right? It's your ego's going to try to grip. It's going to try to hold on to the old story of, oh, we're never going to leave. I'm never going to find somebody. You're going to see those thoughts creep in, but you have to hold your vision, right? And then 48 hours in, that's when everything really starts to amp up and you really start to feel like, oh, this is possible. You've been thinking about it for 48 hours now. Now it's still like, oh, I'm halfway there. I got this. I'm just going to hold my vision. I'm doing it every night before bed. I'm doing it every morning when I wake up. I'm blanking out my mind throughout the day and giving myself like a mental break of just not thinking at all. I'm going out in nature. I'm eating healthy food for these 72 hours. And then the third day, you are literally a new person. Your consciousness has changed because you held the vision long enough to allow the universe to grab it. So it's almost like you holding the vision is the universe like running by your door. It's the horse. And it's like you're handing off your vision to the horse. And it's like the third day is when the horse is coming. So you have to still hold that vision to be the person that has a thing. And it's like the mail is coming by and you have to like give them the package, and then they go off and then they materialize it. So that's where it's a dance where you took the step to envision it, and then the universe is going to run by your door, take your vision, and then it's going to go materialize it for you. So in that phase, you're just sitting tight. You're waiting for things to unfold for you. But ask yourself this, are you sitting there and consistently thinking about what you want? Or are you sitting there consistently thinking about what's not working in your life? Okay, so make sure you're not writing, not thinking, not speaking about what's not working in your life. We only want to be putting into our imagination what we want to create. Our thoughts, you guys listen to this, our thoughts, like right now, my thoughts are moving and materializing into my future. They're not going backward. They are always going forward. So what are you thinking about every single day? What are you creating? Start thinking about the things that you want. And trust me, it is so incredibly possible to materialize something in 72 hours. I've done it. I can't wait to make a video on it. It's not fully materialized yet, but a big piece of my manifestation came in, and it came in 2 days. So in the 48 hours that I held a vision, I got a text message and it was in the works. And I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. Okay, switch up your routines. They are pulling on your energy. Yeah. I felt this last night. I was up in the middle of the night. I felt like somebody was pulling on my energy. And I just was like, leave me alone. I literally said it out loud. I was like, stop thinking about me. So switching up your routines could simply mean like distracting yourself. You know, when you're sitting tight and waiting for things to be moved for you, sometimes it's good to wake up and just be different. You know, go see a sunrise, go for a drive, go for a walk, do something you've never done before. Okay, I just got guided to use Tosha Silver's prayer deck. This is what it looks like. It's one of my favorite decks ever. She teaches us how to pray. This is how I learned how to pray. You guys know how I always say, change me into a woman who can ... That's this woman. She taught me this. Okay, we have compassion. As you pray each day for greater compassion, a new self is born, drawing new people and experiences. Dear Lord, help me feel ever deepening self-acceptance. May I see myself as you see me. So stinking beautiful. And like I said, the elephant you created. So if you came to Earth to learn compassion, right? Then what would you need to do to learn compassion? You would maybe need to see somebody hurt you. You would need to feel somebody hurt you to then find compassion, go, oh, they hurt me because they were in a pattern costume and they didn't know any better. They have an ancestral line of maybe cheating in their family line, or maybe there's neglect, or maybe there's lies or betrayal, or maybe it's just people pleasing. Maybe it's something a little bit smaller, but that's actually like really big because it hinders everything you do in your life. But you see that maybe a parent did that to you. So then you find compassion and say, oh, they just didn't know any better, right? We can still, it doesn't negate the behavior, right? You're still human. You're still feeling pain. And that's one of my favorite things that I like to teach is a lot of the spiritual community, not so much nowadays, but they used to like bypass feeling. You know, early on in my journey, when I started to spiritually awaken, everyone, you know, all so-called spiritual people online were teaching that, you know, oh, you know, it's a lesson, you're meant to learn it, you know, it's okay to just, you know, don't let your mind talk you into grief. And I'm like, but I lost my kid and my body feels that pain every single day. So you're telling me just to ignore that? Like, what? So I like, you know, literally believed them. I was thinking I just had to turn that off for some reason. Meanwhile, I was like, you know, now I'm 12 years post loss, but even with my abuse as a kid, like you can't just turn off the anger. You can't just turn off that deep feeling of grief. So please, this is one of my favorite things to teach is you are allowed to feel. And if your body is feeling pain, if you're feeling grief, if you're feeling anger, you're freaking allowed to feel it. You know, this morning I was, you know, feeling like that person was pulling on my energy and I was like, just get off of me. Like, leave me alone. I need my space. And it brought me back to a trauma where, you know, I was hurt as a kid. And I remember saying, I don't want to play, get off. And it was I just started crying last night in the middle of the night. So it was like my vision of somebody pulling on my energy was actually a wounding. It was a pattern that I had experienced of somebody thinking that they could just play with me whenever they wanted to, thinking that they could just have access to my energy. And as an adult, I've manifested that in the past. And I know that, and I know it's a pattern for me, and I know it's gone. But the sadness of, the inner child in me that still felt that was last night in the middle of the night, and she was screaming, saying, "Get off of me. You're not allowed to just use me whenever you want to." And having compassion for the little girl in you or boy who went through something like that. That little girl or boy needs to be held. And we do not spiritually bypass our inner child, because that's essentially when somebody's saying, "Oh, they just transitioned, Michelle, your daughter's fine, she wouldn't want you to be sad." You're bypassing the entire grief experience of grief, like, which is what I came here to learn, which is forgiveness, compassion, understanding other people and their pain and their grief. So beware, or be mindful of the spiritual community, and when they tell you not to, I don't know, they don't say move on. I forget what words they used to use, but it was almost like oh, if somebody tells you, oh, they transition, and just all the spiritual concepts. No, you're human, you're living in a physical form, and you're going to feel things, and it is not easy. So you can have the 3D experience, and you can have the 5D rationality about why it had to happen. It drives me nuts when certain people comment either on my YouTube channel, or I make this long post on my community page about my grief and how I'm so proud of myself that I have to wake up every single day with that feeling. I'm consciously aware that my daughter is okay and everything was perfect, and I picked it and I chose it and all the, but yet the body, the nervous system still feels the pain of that experience, because we're human. And to have somebody comment and say, like, "Oh, you chose it," or da da da, like, they're completely negating the human experience. And I want to make sure that nobody is doing that to all of you, because that person commenting, they clearly didn't go through what you went through. So how could they know? So that's where the compassion comes in, that we just see those comments and we go, "Oh, they don't know. They haven't gone there. They think they have, but they haven't." And that's where you get to hold tight to your truth and know that your body is feeling what it's feeling, and you can honor that. Nobody else can tell you how to feel or what not to feel. Okay, what time is it? I have a lunch date with a friend today, and I'm so pumped. Okay. Final prayer card from Tosha. Mistakes. This has been coming up a lot lately. I filmed another video and we got the word mistakes. Allow me to know it's okay to make mistakes. Let me always take care of the inner child. Yeah, so he or she feels loved no matter what. So if you are maybe somebody who's made those comments, or maybe you've said those things to people, or maybe you felt like you made a mistake like I did, believing somebody that was leading me the wrong way, right? Well, I had to go down that wrong path to learn what the right path was. And I don't even like to use the word right or wrong, but a mistake is it's you learning. You're just figuring it out. You're dancing. You're like, "Oh, do I like this song? Nope, I don't like that song." That's all a mistake is. So please do not beat yourself up for something that you said to somebody, for an action that you didn't take, maybe for years of neglect, or maybe I have a couple clients who are moms and they are awakening, right? They're different now, but they have to live with the fact that, "Oh man, I wasn't such a great mom. 10 years ago, I felt bad. I screamed at my kids. I didn't check in on them. I didn't ask them how their day was, because I was so trying to make sure everything was perfect in my house, because my inner child was suffering." So they have to now, forgive themselves and find compassion with themselves, and understand that that was meant to be, that was designed. It's the elephant and the cosmic egg. You're waking up, maybe let's pause and say, "Thank God you're awake now." Thank God you're here listening to this. You're not still in the pattern. You're closing the karmic loop. You've overcome the obstacle. So the elephant also has fire, which is kind of funny because you guys, before I started this, I'm so sad. I burned a hole through my little, I have like a little heart scarf here. It's my sacred scarf that I keep with my daughter's stuff. And I was lighting this candle and one of the embers fell and it just burned a hole. And I was just like, all right, fire guides, what are you trying to tell me? And then of course we get the elephant. Look, there's fire. So our fire guides, if you guys didn't know this, there's air guides, fire guides, water guides. It's all the elements. So when they are coming out to play, it's symbolizing a burning, right? We're burning through these karmic lessons. We can't move forward in this new reality, in our new heaven on earth, with karma. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's the thing, right? We are literally here to remove all karma. In order to remove it, it has to be completed. You have to finish it. So this means, to be honest, I cheated on people in the past, or I was like the other girl, and my karma came back around and I had to feel it. And I had to feel it so bad to where I felt like my whole solar plexus and my sacral chakra were like exploding for like 3 years. I had to refeel every time that I hurt somebody else energetically by being the other person, right? By being that secretive relationship where I was thinking the person was just going to finally choose me. And that's the only reason why I was engaging in it. Because I was like, oh, this is my person and they just need to leave this relationship and choose me. And it was a toxic pattern from childhood, from me trying to win my dad from my sisters and from my mom and just trying to get that parent love. And that's all it was. But it was something that I had to complete, and I had to refeel. I had to refeel the pain of, somebody betraying me and lying to me and cheating on me. So I did it in the past, and that karma has to come back around. So mistakes, those were my mistakes, and I'm being really radically honest right now and sharing it with all of you. And it's not easy to share this stuff, but at the same time, it's my truth, and I'd rather be honest, and I'd rather get it out there and then have compassion for the piece of me that it sucks that I did that. It sucks that I didn't know better. Like, what would possess me to do that? And that's the freaking karmic lesson. Because guess what? It's been happening for years in my family line. Years. Grandparents, great grandparents, lies, deception. And it's all just humans looking for love. I was just looking for love. I was just looking to be chosen. I was doing it in a messy way, but I still was just needing that love. And now that I'm out of the pattern, I'm the elephant. I overcame the obstacle. That pattern is like a little ant hole now. And I'm like this big, wonderful human now, who I can see that mistake taught me how to have compassion for other people who are doing it, or all of my clients that come to me and they're literally, considering cheating. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. You're not opening up another karmic loop. Don't cheat. Don't don't repeat the pattern, because that's what it is. You're just repeating what everybody did before you. And you're a product of it, which sucks. And I'm sorry to say that, but we have to stop it. And that's where the vulture comes in. And the vulture comes in, and thank God it's here. Thank God for these guys. They come in and they clean up the mess. As long as you become aware of the mess. If you're not aware of the mess, they can't clean it up. The universe won't clean it up for you. It won't help you. And yeah, it just won't. You're going to have to figure out and learn that lesson on your own. You're going to have to close that karmic loop. Okay, so I just got guided to use my Ever Unfolding Heart deck. It was my very first deck that I created. Your angels have been trying to communicate with you through numbers: 1111, 333, 444, 555, 1234, 777, 888, 1212. They are telling you you are in the flow. Heck yes. So angel numbers are speaking to you. a lot of times angel numbers for me will show up when I am moving through a karmic cycle, when my angels are like, all right, Michelle, we're about to put you through the washing machine. So prepare yourself. Here's some angel numbers to let you know that this is meant to happen. Everything's okay. Okay, let's do another Tosha Silver. This is her abundance deck. And I just heard your guides want you to all pause, and they're saying, Michelle, it was very admirable that you just shared your dirty laundry with the internet. But sit down and ask yourself, what pattern do you have? Like, maybe you're not like me, right? Maybe you didn't do those things, but you are doing some sort of pattern. Every single human being has a pattern, whether it's people pleasing, whether it's lying, whether it's fabricating stories to sound more interesting so people will love you. I was asking you guys what your patterns are, but also beware of NPCs. There's people in this world who are going to do things to you to help you see that you've been doing it, right? So it's a mirror. And it might feel like the most painful thing on the planet because it's the karma closing, because you have to feel it and you have to see it in somebody else or experience it to understand what pattern that you have. So look around all the people that you're around right now, and whatever you're seeing them do is more than likely what you have inside of you that you need to stop doing. Okay, we're going to take this bottom one. I just feel guided to. It says outrageous openness. Dear love, open me to your will. I can't read this. I think it says with. Dear love, open me to your will, release me from my attachments, surprise and delight me with your plan. You know what's needed, and I am open to receive. Okay, so they just gave us a perfect prayer. So after you uncover a pattern, right, and you figure out, okay, what's the pattern? What's the lesson behind the pattern? If the pattern is me, what I was doing, right, the lesson is to tidy up my ship, to forgive my wrongs, to find compassion for others who are doing it too, and to never do it again, and to be radically honest and have integrity. And to, my energy now, because of those experiences, my energy is so incredibly tight in a way where, if I'm with a married couple or a guy and a girl and they're dating, I will literally only make eye contact. I'll make eye contact with the woman more than the man to let her know, like, hey, I'm not a threat to you. I'm not going to try, because I know how wounded us women are. We always feel like every other woman is a threat to our partner. And it's like we're all these children trying to keep our teddy bear close and it's ours, and we don't want anyone else to have it. So what I do is I try to disarm everybody that I meet and let them know that I'm not a threat to you. I am love. I am compassion. I am forgiveness. I am not here to cause any kind of stir. I'm just a human here having this experience, and I love coaching people, and I love my daughter, and I want to create a new experience for myself. And I'm only looking for a single man who is willing to do the work. And I show up in every conversation in that energy of disarming people. So that's guidance for all of you. Ask, and you guys know my throat chakra, when it goes nuts, it's a thing that you need to hear. And we also have, like, think about it, it says outrageous openness. I'm like being outrageously open right now. And this is what we are all being called to do. We're all being called to clear the clutter, to clean up the mess. But it says, dear love, open me to your will, release me from my attachments, surprise and delight me with your plan. That's kind of like the horse momentum and sit tight, things are being moved for you. Delight me with your plan. Release me from my attachments. Release me from the job, release me from the pattern, release me from this relationship. It's wild how these patterns live so deep in us, and a lot of people are still unaware of it, but that's what mirrors are for. That is what compassion is for. That is what forgiveness is for. They're words for a reason, because we're meant to do it. We're meant to experience something icky to then transmute it into something beautiful. And you all are that beautiful transition. You are the mission, right? You came here to grow and to transform. And now you're being rewarded for it. You got the 6 of Wands, 6 of Fire. We got fire energy too. Good thing I didn't like burn my house down. Victory, wise choices that bring public recognition and success, promotions, awards, or scholarships. So this to me is kind of like the gold star from the universe. It's saying, good job, student. You did the mission, you completed the karma, you did the bad thing, you did the mistake so that you could learn what not to do, so you could stop it in your family line. Yes, you have to feel it one more time to fully clear it, but you're going to be so much freer after it. You're going to have so much compassion. You're going to be outrageously open. And now you're being rewarded for it. Now the whole world is going to be shining a light on you saying, hey, you're amazing and you've been through so much and you deserve this. You did the work to clear your karma. The High Priestess. Oh, there's a knock on my door. BRB. Okay, we're back. All is good. Okay, we have the High Priestess. It says, meditate and turn inward to discover your soul's true desire. This is not the time for action. It's kind of like the sit tight, things are being moved for you. Develop your intuitive gifts and trust the wisdom you receive. Okay, they just said that so many people try to force their next steps, or they try to force a project, or they think they need, or they think that they're in control of when something is meant to be birthed into the world, right? And they think it needs to be now. They think they need to dedicate time for it, and I'm going to make this happen. And sometimes that's not the way it is. Sometimes it is because you feel so inspired. You're like, I want to do this right now. But other times the High Priestess is saying, like, we go inward and we ask, like, hey, Spirit, can you show me if this is the right time to start this website? Or if it's the right time to start this YouTube channel or podcast or write this book, or, go take dance lessons, whatever it is. Like, you are asking first. And that's what Tosha has taught me, that author, to be outrageously open and to be willing to be the vessel, right? So if your soul knows that on a timeline, for me at 29, I was going to have my daughter. At 30, she was going to pass away. And then, 6 or 7 years later, I was going to really spiritually awaken and start meditating every day, start to become the intuitive reader that I was meant to become, to be the spiritual teacher, to be the guide, to be the mentor. It's like everything needed to happen. Well, if I was 2 years post loss going, I need to be an intuitive reader right now, I need to make this happen, I couldn't force myself to spiritually awaken. Just like you can't force yourself to start something when it's not time yet. I had to meet certain people. I had to go through a really tough breakup that sparked my spiritual awakening. So there's certain things on your journey that have to happen before you start the thing. And you'll know. And I know might be hard to hear, but you will know when it's time. And if it's not time right now, like if you're sitting there going, I don't know if it's time, it's not time. If you're having that thought, it's not time. And there's a lot of people out there that teach about fear. I took a fear course and it was so good. And the fear coach was amazing. And he helped me see that I was blocking myself from, wanting success, because I realized that if I'm successful, then it might make my siblings look a certain way, or it might hurt somebody in my family, because that's what happened as a kid. Because, if one kid did something in a family of 4 kids, then the other ones were made to feel bad about it. Or if I did have like a really good game or something, then I would come home and my parents would have like a big fight, or my mom would be yelling at one of my other siblings, and it would ruin my good news from that day. So now I have a pattern of expecting bad things to happen when I'm successful. So my fear says, no, 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 don't even go there, Michelle, because then you won't have to feel any of it. So that course taught me that at certain points in my journey, I was ready to take action, but my fear was stopping me. And it's a real fine line. And you know when it's your fear, because you go to bed every night thinking you should be doing it, right? And when it's not time yet, you have the thought, but it's not as persistent, it's not as loud, it's just a little whisper. That's an intuitive nudge that you're getting very, very early on your journey. So I was at my teaching job, and it was like maybe a year and a half before I quit. And I knew a year and a half that I needed to quit my job, but there were certain people I needed to meet. There were certain things that needed to happen before I resigned. So that experience taught me, and my mentor used to tell me, I would call her every week in anxiety. I'm like, I need to leave this job. And she's like, Michelle, put your body in the boat, drop the oars, and let the universe take you. Let's just see what happens this year. See where this road takes you, this river takes you. And she was so right. I needed to learn how to teach a younger group of kids, to then create a mindfulness program that is being sold right now all over the world, all over the US and Canada. And I'm in 500 different schools, 13 different states. And if I did not sit in that boat with my arms all tied up, she literally had to talk me off the ledge so many times I wanted to quit. And if I would have quit, I don't know, maybe the universe would have pivoted me in some way to another school. I don't know. But I needed to be there to learn the lesson on how to relate to younger kids so that I could create a mindfulness program. I was teaching little kids 3rd through 8th grade how to meditate. Like, how freaking cool is that? It's my greatest accomplishment. And I love it. But I needed to be in the ick of the job I didn't want to be at because my soul chose it. So when you're meant to be somewhere, you're meant to be there. And sometimes we just surrender to it. Other times we are in a toxic environment that is hurting us. And that's when it's time to leave. That job wasn't really like hurting me. It was expanding me. It was teaching me things. It was, it was also very like relaxed, and it was way more forgiving than my other teaching job. I had two. I was at one school for like my whole career, and then I left and then taught at another school for 2 years, and then I left totally for after 17 years. So, but that second school, oh man, that was my expansion school, I call it. It pushed me in every direction possible. Okay. Now we have embarking on an adventure. I savor the wonders of the world. I've always wanted to go in a hot air balloon too. This is so cool. So this horse that's going to be coming by your door, this victory, this feeling could be somebody showing up at your doorstep going like, hey, let's go on a trip. Or, hey, let's start this thing together. You're embarking on this new thing. Like I said, it could be leaving a relationship, leaving a job. Let's get some Micah magic on that. What is this adventure, Spirit? What is this adventure? I'm gonna take these two. Speaking your truth, step into the new you. Okay, so maybe you're going to be speaking. Maybe you're going to be, starting your own podcast. Maybe you're going to be speaking on stages. Maybe you're going to be teaching. Somebody's going to be using their voice on this new adventure. Maybe writing a book. Free your mind. So the mind is the sabotage. Like I talked about, your fear blocking you from starting things. Sometimes it's not time to start, but other times, and that's why working with a coach and a healer is good, because if you were to tell me your story right now, I'd be able to kind of compare it to my story and say, oh, I remember myself in that phase. That's when you need to stay and learn the lesson. Or, oh, that I remember that point. That's when you need to get out. That's when you need to hop online and start the website and start the business. Your fear is blocking you, and freeing your mind is freeing that sabotage. You're no longer doing it. You're like, no, I'm not going to succumb to my fear. I'm going to go towards it, and I'm going to embrace it and say, okay, my joy lives on the other side of fear. And it's so true. It does. And the universe adores you. It's going to reward you. This is that victory energy too. You're going to be rewarded for these brave actions. And they just said switch decks. Okay. So we're going to do an animal deck. This is Spirit Animal Oracle. Wow. Flamingo and armadillo. Set healthy boundaries, embrace the in-between. This is that phase. So Spirit is literally telling us through these two cards that if you are in the in-between, there's some things you got to learn about boundaries. The universe will not release you from a relationship or from a job until you speak your truth, until you stand up for yourself, until you set the boundary. And in the meantime, you're just gonna have even if you did leave it, you would just attract another situation or another person that will bring the same lesson. That's why these karmic loops are serious and they're real, and we have to finish them out. We have to tie them up. We have to feel it again. We have to step it out of ourselves and do something different. Here's an example. I had a pattern of not speaking up and letting people abuse me, letting people use me. And that was from my trauma as a child. And it felt good. Like it felt like normal. Like, oh, okay, this means I'm getting love because somebody's giving me attention and they can just come get, my attention, my love anytime they want. They can come, get some good energy from me. And then I realized, no freaking way. You can't just knock on my door and just come see me whenever you want. Like, there's no relationship here. There's no beautiful connection and giving and receiving. It was just like somebody just using my energy, and it's like through conversation too. So it was just like I eventually had to speak up and say, you can't do this anymore. Like, who do you think you are? And that was really hard for me. I had to face the fear of, oh no, if I speak up to somebody, what if I get hurt again? Because when I was a kid, if I spoke up, I got hit. So there's a little piece of me that's like, Michelle, don't ever speak up ever again, because you don't want to get hit. And you don't know what this person is capable of, because the person that you trusted in childhood, you didn't think that they were capable of that, but then they did it. So now you assume that everybody else is going to blindside you and hurt you. So I would just go along with things out of fear. But when we learn to see the pattern, to go deeper into, why am I letting this happen? Why am I not standing up for myself? And then forgiving yourself because you couldn't stand up for yourself as a kid. You didn't have the tools. You literally were being hurt. And I share my examples because I know so many of you have similar experiences, and know it might not be the same thing, but you probably had a neighbor bullying you, or you probably had cousins that would always diminish you, or grandparents or aunts, or somebody that always just made you feel this big. So it hindered your ability to stand up for yourself. So now when we have karma and we are closing these karmic loops, we are being forced to not do that to our children, right? Number one, we have to stop that. And we have to really own it and say, crap, I did that. It's okay. You find compassion, you forgive yourself, and you just don't do it next time. And that's us learning and cutting the cord and stopping the pattern. Okay. It really takes discipline, and it takes awareness and forgiveness. You have to forgive yourself. If you mess up, forgive yourself. Okay. Right now, you can be better. Right now, you can do it differently. And then if it's not you who's doing it and somebody else doing it to you, you walk up to them and you say, you're not going to do this to me anymore. And you speak your truth. And that's what I had to do to that person who was using me. And I removed them from my reality. And when I removed them from my reality, I had my highest earning month after that. I had all these new opportunities come in. I felt like Superwoman. And it's because the universe was like, Michelle did it. She finally, for 42 years, she was letting people use her. And now she woke up to it. And now she's standing in her truth and speaking her truth and setting boundaries. And I literally pretended like I have my little 8-year-old inner child next to me. And I'm like, nobody's going to hurt you ever again. I will never let anybody touch you or hurt you or say anything mean or diminish you. You are wonderful, and I'm going to protect you. So I walk through my life protecting her. And that's what prompts me to speak up, because it's like somebody talking down to a child. That's not going to happen anymore. Not in my reality. Sorry. So where can you do that in your life? That is what pattern breaking really is you're seeing the toxicity of what you've allowed to happen to you or what you've done to other people, finding forgiveness, finding compassion, and you're transforming. Look what we got. Final card. I feel guided to end it here. Total completion energy. Transformation is beautiful. You are beautiful. And look, it's the 11 card, which is also twin flame energy. This is what the twins have to go through. We have to go through all of these. We have to clear all the karma. Our mission is to completely clear karma. And we have to experience deep pain that all of our ancestors have experienced in order to do this. And that's why the transformation in the end is so beautiful, because only you know your pain. Only you know what you've experienced. And if you're like me, and if you've experienced painful event after painful event, you realize, okay, like I'm not going to live in the story of, whoa, this is me, this happened to me. I'm going to be the most amazing pattern breaker. And I'm just going to say, no, no more, no more. And if it's grief, if it was something that was out of your control, you say, I forgive the universe for having me experience this because I chose it. What can I do with it now? Oh, I can see that other people are grieving. How can I show up for them? How can I be a loving source for them? Because I've been through it and I know the pain of it. So your lessons this week, this is all karma being cleared. You're cleaning up your side of the street. You're going to get some angel numbers to let you know that you're taken care of. The vulture is going to clean up the mess. You are stepping into a new version of yourself. You're using your voice on this new adventure. You're being outrageously open. You're going to be rewarded for all of your hard work. And I just heard somebody's going to have the love of their life because of this experience. You are going to transform, and you're going to be flying so high, and you're going to be flying with other people who are on a similar journey as you. So get excited. You're about to find your soul tribe after you clean out this karma. And usually abundance follows, opportunities follow, people come into your life because you're aligning to your truth. Where before you were living around all people that have karma and you don't anymore. So now you're going to be with other people that are also cleaning up their karma. All right, lovies, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want any help or assistance on your journey, if you're trying to figure out what your patterns are, how to stop them, how to grieve, how to just allow yourself to feel, I do one-on-one coaching. I run group coaching programs. I have an 8-week mentorship, and I also do intuitive readings and the all game. So feel free to go to my site. The link is in the comments. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful week. And thanks for being here. All right, peace out.